It's spring break, and I couldn't be more happy because here I have a tiny sliver of homemade, naturally sweetened pumpkin pie. Yeah, that's right, this is a sliver. Get over it. Don't judge me! Mm, Oh crap, I need to cook more. Oh boy. So, last week when I said that I'd talk about gender, I thought it'd be a fun, kind of topic. I'm taking my first gender class right now, so I'm learning a lot. Thought it'd be fun, but it's really, after thinking about it, it's such a huge topic. I'm not going to be able to cover half of what I want to, and I don't know half of what I think I do. I have a feeling anyway, so we're just going to keep it simple. Um, so, quick little story. When I was a kid, I was at ski school for, I think, like a week or something like that, and I was about 10 or maybe 9 years old, and there was this kid who really got along with me, and I got along with him. We liked all the same shows, we liked to do all the same things, and so we ended up skiing all over the place together, and we were really cool friends, and I wanted to keep contact with him afterward. And I was amazed at how relaxed he was around me. I mean, I'd never hung out with a guy like that, especially at that age. And then one day he's like, "Hey, you need to go take a piss?" And he's pointing to the trees, and I'm like, no, I don't think I'll participate in the taking of the piss. You go for it. You conquer those trees, damn it. And so he was off, and I was left in the snow just thinking, oh my, he probably thinks I'm a guy. Guys don't talk that way to girls. And as it turns out, I was completely correct. Some of the girls in my class ended up telling him that I was a girl, and he became really mean. Why? I was the same person. What the heck? This is not fair. And it may have had something to do with the fact that I had a boy's haircut, but still, who cares? Whatever. So we have these ideas of what gender is and how gendered people are supposed to act, male and female. If you're a guy, you're supposed to act this way. If you're a girl, you're supposed to act this way. And it's kind of the structure that we have socially is kind of rigid. You're punished from a very young age if you go outside the lines. So, like, if you're like a little boy who likes to play with his mother's makeup, even though you're 2 years old, suddenly there's something terribly wrong with you. And it's fun to kind of realize that this stigma on gender has not always been around. Like, our idea of gender hasn't always been as it is now. Therefore, the punishment for crossing those boundaries hasn't been consistent either. Yeah. And that other cultures even define gender very, very differently than we do. In fact, many Native American tribes have a third gender category, which is very interesting to think about. It's not just the binary guy or girl, suddenly there's another option. It's really, really fascinating. And I wish I knew more about it so I could tell you more about it with confidence. So the way I look at it is there are these three separate ideas that are seen as pretty much the same thing. There's your sex, what intimate thoughts you are born with, and then there's the gender, which is kind of a social construct. Is it a boy or is it a girl? And then there's your sexual orientation. And people kind of see these three things as either the same, that or in a sort of domino effect that cannot be changed. Well, if you're born with dangly parts of this kind or that kind, you shall definitely be this gender, and if you're this gender, well, obviously you're going to want to have sex in this way. And if you ever go beyond that static recipe, you are punished for it in one way or another, and ostracized for it, which is not fair at all. And how this relates to religion is an institution that really kind of enshrines the gender ideas that we have in our society. It formalizes them, and it's almost like religion tends to see itself as being justified eternally. Like, this is the way it always has been, this is the way it always will be, this is what gender is, absolutely. But in reality, we know that's not the case from studying other cultures, that our definitions of gender are actually very different than other people's, and they're subject to change, and they will be in flux. It's just the way things go. So religion sort of bakes gender ideology into its doctrine, and I really think that is what has happened with the Mormon Church. In particular, I can speak for this because I am Mormon. Yes, indeed I am. So there's this idea of, like, what does it mean to be a Mormon woman? Well, today it means, well, you are going to be housewife. You're going to wait for that wonderful missionary man while he goes off and explores the world and converts people to Jesus. You will be waiting for him and maybe going to college to get your degree in case he dies later in life. And then he comes home and you get married and you have many, many multitudes of babies and you raise them in perfect bliss and happiness, and you are a cleaning, cooking, baby caring for soccer mom machine. And that works for people. Anyway, if you're a guy, your gendered identity is very, very closely tied to the priesthood, which is the authority system in the church. So women can't have real priesthood authority in the church at all currently. But from the time boys are very, very young, they're told you're going to have the priesthood, you're going to have all these expectations on you, you're going to go on a mission, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, you're going to be that. So it's almost like the roadmap for your whole life has been laid out for you, basically before you're even born. So guys grow up with this huge expectation of basically just performing this male role that's been painted in front of their faces. And if you go against that, if you say, hey, well, guess what? I don't really care about this priesthood that I have, and I don't really want to serve a mission. You are, ooh, it's really kind of a terrible thing. You are ostracized in the Mormon religion for it, and it is tied to gender. It is a male expectation to do those things. I think one of the most important things to do, as far as identity is concerned, especially with gender, is to try and deconstruct what structure you have been surrounded by in your own life, and really just try and be honest with yourself. Like, I grew up Mormon. Mormonism has very archaic definitions of what gender is, and they spread it out over eternity. Like, I'm not just a girl here, I'm a girl in eternity, and the problems and issues that come along with gender differences aren't just something I look forward to in mortality, there's something I look forward to in eternity as a result. So anyway, the point is, that kind of ideology is really kind of baked into my skull. And it leaves me feeling very, sometimes very, very guilty, because as I've heard my whole life, as a woman, it is my duty to have a husband and children, and that motherhood is the most I will ever aspire to become in my life. That is what I've heard, that is what I've been taught consistently, very regularly. And that is totally not how I feel. So, it's hard to separate yourself from all of the influences that have kind of built up your idea of what gender is and what identity is up until this point. But I think it's very, very important to do so. It's one of the reasons why I'm taking time off of church, even though I love church and doctrine and things like that, is I really know that I need the time to form a positive self-identity outside the context of other people's expectations. So yeah, whatever it takes to get you there, do it, and don't feel bad about it. I don't care if it's half-baked. My damn pie, dang it. I earned this! Midterms!